Let's begin with the stats. So here's some of the things that I was quite surprised to see. So on the face of it, it says that global anxiety disorders have been on the rise since 1990, with a 13% rise in mental health conditions worldwide, fueled by shifting demographics and relentless stressors. So there's relentless things that are causing stress. We'll come into what they are in just a bit. But it says here that in the United States, it's really, really prominent, where 1 in 3 adults are actually battling with anxiety. Rates are ticking up each year. 2024 hit a poll hit a new record of 43% of adults reporting higher anxiety than before. 77% of them were stressed out about the economy. 43% were on the edge about elections. And for the younger people, the younger demographic, it's even tougher. 18% of adults noted anxiety in 2022, up from 15% the year before. And teens felt that in the last 2 weeks that they were just completely riddled with anxiety. Social anxiety has gripped a lot of Americans. That's 7.1%. That's a total of 15 million Americans feeling disabled by anxiety. Shockingly, in the first 9 months of 2025, people seeking help for anxiety skyrocketed by over 93%. So, why is there a rise? What's causing this shift and this drive and this sort of issue? Well, let's start with what anxiety is. Anxiety is your body letting you know that you need to respond to something. So if you go back through where our ancestors would have been, imagine that you were in a tribe. You would have went out to the fishing boats, or you might have went out into the forest to collect berries, or coming back to the camp. You're walking along the camp. You're walking the same path that you always walk. You're heading back into the tribe, and you walk past the bush, and then behind that bush you hear a branch snapping, and it immediately gets your focus and it gets your attention, because your body is creating anxiety because it wants you to respond to something. It's identified something and needs you to take action. Now, that focus is there anything to worry about? Am I in any danger? If I am, what do I need to do? And is it nothing? So that's what anxiety is there to do. It's there to serve a purpose, to bring your attention to something. So anxiety is a good thing, because what it will do is it will create a response in your body. It'll increase your heart rate. It'll increase the blood flow to your muscles, so that you can take action, you can move out the way, you can get out of danger, you can get out of harm's way. And that's what anxiety's purpose is for. So nobody would say that that was a bad thing, but it seems to have been demonized recently, in the sense that anxiety is something that stops you. And it's actually the opposite of what anxiety is. Anxiety is there to make you take action, not to make you take no action. And you hear a lot of people saying things like, I feel stuck, I feel trapped, I feel that I can't do anything, I feel that anxiety's crippling, and all these sorts of things. And it's that might be the symptom of what they feel, but anxiety, it's the problem of mislabeling this thing called anxiety. Now, one of the dangers of mislabeling anxiety, or anything that you mislabel, is for generations we've been wired into believing that we identify the issue as the symptom, and instead of figuring out what the root problem is. So you want to actually establish why you're feeling anxious in the first place. So, things like, are you not in the best of shape? Are you not tending to little things that you need to deal with? Are you putting off things? Are you blowing things out of proportion? Are you finding that you are having difficulty and not solving any problems? Is there anything that you have a burning desire to fix but are just not getting round to it? So there's lots and lots of things that could create this sort of environment to amplify it. And in the recent times, what people have had is they had this sort of drive-by narrative to overemphasize things, to make things blow things out of proportion, make small problems into big problems. And what happens is people are now really, really getting out of hand. I mean, if you see, you maybe have seen some of the sort of videos of people being offended by everything, people being, diagnosing everything from, ADHD, neurodivergent, say, depression, all these sorts of things. And it's not to say that all people that have these issues don't have them. There'll be people that genuinely have real mental health issues. But that doesn't mean that everyone that's self-diagnosing actually has these. They seem to be just over-diagnosing things because they have one thing, they look up a symptom and they just jump on the bandwagon. And that creates an environment in you when you start to believe that these things are the case. And one of the things that is a big driver of this is actually media. So one of the biggest proponents is media. If you look at the way media is spun, media is always captured headlines with negative captions. So everything is shock, making drama, creating tension, making things, to grab your focus. The media now is the version of that stick being snapped behind the bush for your ancestors, is to create huge focus, because if they get focus, you'll buy their products, you'll buy their outlets, and essentially then now in social media terms, you're giving it your attention. The difficulty with that is that when you start to create this environment in your body where it's negativity, blowing it out of proportion, what you're doing is you're creating this wiring. So we as humans, we run on patterns, we spot patterns, we create a neurological wiring in our brains, which is how to respond to these triggers. And then when you create that negative wiring, what happens is if the wiring you create is this negative, over proportionate, blown out of proportion overload, then that's the wiring that you're going to run. The difficulty with that is that if you start to mislabel things as anxiety, over dramatized and so on, and spreads out, then everything is crippling. Everything is a problem. Everything is creating new issues. And remember where we started. Anxiety serves a positive purpose for you to take action. But when you create this wiring that's been pushed, and a lot of it's been pushed by media, is this negativity is creating an environment which is blowing everything out of proportion. And now you can see the scale of the problem. This is why the numbers are pointing that anxiety is a big issue. This is why it's on the rise. And if you look at the way media is spun, wars, disasters, elections, and everything is hyper dramatized. Everything is hyper sensationalized. And it's just taking you away from that natural state that you should be in, which is, hey, this anxiety isn't a bad thing. Do I need to take action? Do I need to ask myself, is there danger here? Yes or no?